Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we had an election last night, our first statewide election since the Wisconsin Supreme Court race in April. And this was a referendum that kind of impacts future referendums. That's really what it was on. And it's ironic because if this passed and then this referendum was a thing, this referendum would not have passed, because what this referendum really does, if it did pass, is it would make ballot measures require 60% of the public support if it's amending the state's constitution instead of 50%. So let's say there is an amendment to embed abortion in the Constitution of Ohio, which there is this November, then it would have required 60% of the electorate that is voting to vote yes on that in order for that to become a thing instead of 50%. However, we saw last night what happened, and the November referendum that will be taking place on abortion is going to be a lot harder for conservatives to really reject now, because now it's going to take 50% of the electorate in Ohio to say no, which probably, given the results of what took place, will end up being the case. And we're going to talk about why this failed. We're going to be talking about the losing streak of Republicans and conservatives electorally and kind of what needs to happen in order to stop that. But first, I have to tell you guys about our very good friends over at Noble Gold, because the US dollar has lost 85% of its value since the 70s, when the dollar decoupled from gold, and the government seems bent on continuing that tradition. From now until after the next elections, the government can print as much money as they want. The last time they did that, inflation went up by 9%. Gold is the one asset that has proven to withstand inflation. Invest in gold with Noble Gold Investments. You'll also get a 24-karat quarter-ounce gold standard coin for free. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com now, noblegoldinvestments.com, or simply dial 877-646-5347. Noble Gold Investments, the only gold company that I trust. So, I predicted this would fail because this is something that a lot of Democrats are very energized on. They want to turn out because they want to keep abortion in Ohio for whatever reason. The public opinion has not shifted enough on the issue of abortion to the point where you're going to see even these lean red states come out in full force against it and try to ban it at the statewide level. They'll be fine with some sort of like 8-week ban potentially, but they want the right in the Constitution. This is going to fire up the left a lot more than the right, which does not know how to really go on offense on the issue of abortion. They're always playing defense and they always keep losing. They used to go on offense before Roe v. Wade was overturned, and ever since the Dobbs v. Jackson decision became the law of the land, they've been cowering in fear, and because they're cowering in fear, the left keeps hammering it home. They're winning all these races. They're winning Supreme Court races across the country. They're winning governorships because of it, at least in part, not really in full, but it definitely pads their numbers. It pads their chances. And in these off-year elections, this is yet another example of that being the case. I thought it would fail by 10, maybe even by more. Seems like my prediction did hold up. We have not gotten a prediction wrong in almost a year. Great news for this channel. However, still, it's disappointing. Now, I will say this. Republicans didn't do the worst job with turnout. A lot of Republicans went out there and voted. And while turnout overall was roughly half of what it was for the 2020 election, a little bit more than that, but still, turnout as a whole was down. The people that are saying this is going to impact 2024 are brain dead. There's no other explanation for it. Off-year election, referendum. That's like saying that these conservative amendments that passed in Wisconsin the same day that Republicans lost the Supreme Court by a lot are going to impact 2024 to be a 60-40 landslide for Republicans in Wisconsin. Has zero impact on the Senate race, has zero impact on the presidency. Make no mistake. But still, besides the point, you're looking at this, turnout as a whole was not exactly the main problem for Republicans overall. And a lot of Republicans did go out there and they voted no for whatever reason. You had a lot of even conservative influencers, for whatever reason, say that they supported the no vote because what it would do is it would empower the state legislature over the voters. I personally would have supported this issue 1 referendum for many reasons. One, because I don't even really believe in referendums. It kind of defeats the purpose of having a representative republic that the founders really wanted. And what these things do, like, for example, take the issue of abortion. When it comes down to it, if they're going to be putting that as a referendum on the ballot, you know that the left has all of the big money in politics. They're going to be blaring the ads. They're going to be controlling the narrative, controlling the media and the way that they're spinning it as they do. And as a result, they're going to win every single time under the guise of democracy. In reality, they just put this up to a vote and then put a bunch of money behind one side. The other side obviously doesn't have the same amount of resources, for one, but also at the same time, they also have been fumbling the messaging regarding the issue, and they go out there and they continue to lose. And that's the way it's been. That's the way these things have gone. And I personally think upping the threshold from 50% to 60% really will cause less of this change to really come into effect under the guise of democracy by putting these referendums that nobody understands. And that's another reason why I believe it failed, is because a lot of people that are voting don't even know what they are voting on. And they go to the polls and they see this and they're like, well, wait a minute, I want more voting power or whatever. I'm just going to vote no, or for whatever reason you want to put out there. But either way, it is what it is. It is disappointing, to say the very least, but nothing really is gained because of this. But in November, a lot could be lost because of this. And this is kind of a problem. Republicans really need to reverse the trend. Yes, turnout was down, and we saw that. That's 3 million compared to nearly 6 million that we saw in the 2020 election. However, this is still something that I consider to be a big problem, because you could easily go out there in these lower turnout elections, control the narrative, and win. But Republicans, even in states with more competent Republican parties than a state like Michigan or a state like Minnesota, they're still not exactly doing this with turnout, and that's kind of an issue. If you look at Texas and Florida, they've been doing better regarding their turnout, and that's a good thing, especially in Texas, because you're going to have to go out there and fend off a potential purpling of the state as much as possible, try to buy as much time as possible. But still, in a state like Ohio, the Republican Party there, they've been doing better, but apparently not exactly good enough. And that's the way that it is. The messaging is awful. The way they're framing these ballot measures in many cases are awful. And sometimes if Republicans are able to do it correctly, like they did in Louisiana in 2020 with their anti-abortion referendum, their pro-life referendum they put on there that was kind of like the Roe v. Wade trigger law, that actually outperformed Donald Trump in the state of Louisiana. But when it comes to a ballot measure that just says, oh, let's increase the threshold to make sure everybody's on board, people know what they're voting for, no, that doesn't exactly pass in a state like Ohio. It is what it is. And also, this is interesting because a lot of counties that voted for Trump in 2016 or 2020, but voted for Obama in 2008 and 2012, a lot of those counties tended to be the ones that went out there and voted to strike this issue down. And it kind of shows that maybe there is kind of a problem where a lot of white working class voters that are these new Trump Republicans that are low propensity, they don't exactly care that much about the issue of abortion, and that's the way it is. They're probably more pro-life than your average Democrat, but at the same time, like, they're not going to exactly care about the issue so much if it's like set nationally at an 8-week ban or a 12-week ban. And that's the way it is. We could argue about why that's wrong, obviously, but that's just the lay of the land right now. So that's going to be a cultural fight that the pro-life movement is really going to have to deal with, and moving the Overton window. I think they've moved it quite a bit, but a lot of Republicans are too afraid to go on offense. When Democrats have positions on the issue of abortion that are so radical. They have late term, even in some cases after birth abortion that they're supporting. And on top of that, you don't even see that in liberal Western Europe. You only see that in places like China, North Korea, these third world countries that we consider to be our adversaries or enemies. It's crazy, but still, nevertheless, Republicans don't exactly go on offense. But one last thing, it also proves the need for Donald Trump. Donald Trump supercharges turnout in these places that voted no, and people are saying, oh, well, we need Trump to not be on the ballot because we need to retake the Senate in 2024. And it's like, are you kidding me? You're going to lose Ohio, possibly, if you nominate somebody like DeSantis. He's not going to get the nomination. If he did, he'd win Ohio, but he'd win it by much less than Trump would win it by. And you look at somebody like Sherrod Brown, he very well would be on track to a victory in the state, whereas Trump on that ballot almost guarantees that Sherrod Brown is going to be going down this next November. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.